Hello and welcome to Daily Prayer today. Glad that you are with me. We're working our way through the book of Revelation, continuing on in Revelation chapter 12. Let's go ahead and get started. First with a beatitude. Blessed are those who know their need, for theirs is the grace of heaven. Join me in a prayer for awareness. Light within all light, soul behind all souls. At the breaking of dawn, at the coming of day, we wait and watch. Your light within the morning light, your soul within the human soul, your presence beckoning to us from the heart of life. In the dawning of this day, let us know fresh shinings in our soul. In the growing colors of new beginning, all around us, let us know the first lights of our heart. Great star of morning, inner flame of the universe, let us be a color in this new dawning. Join me in a centering breath prayer. Be still and aware. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Our reading for today is Revelation chapter 12, verses 13 to 17. Listen for God's word to speak. So when the dragon saw that he had been thrown down to the earth, he pursued the woman who had delivered the male child. But the woman was given the two wings of the great eagle so that she could fly from the serpent into the wilderness, to her place where she is nourished for a time, and times, and half a time. Then from his mouth the serpent poured water like a river after the woman to sweep her away with the flood. But the earth came to the help of the woman. It opened its mouth and swallowed the river that the dragon had poured from its mouth. Then the dragon was angry with the woman and went off to wage war on the rest of her children, those who keep the commandments of God and hold the testimony of Jesus. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. All right, so we are continuing on with this kind of trippy vision in the midst of a pretty trippy vision of the book of Revelation. We have this sort of story, this image, this idea of a woman and a dragon. We have talked about how she could be many things. She could be humanity itself. She could be Israel or the Jewish people. She could be Mary. And maybe she's simultaneously kind of all of them in this more universal perspective. And we have, again, sort of these ideas. I mentioned that part of this sort of going away of the woman could be the exile. It's more sort of explicitly here connecting to that exile. So the dragon has been sent down to earth, has been defeated by Michael, and the woman who had delivered the male child. But the woman was given two wings of the great eagles. This very much brings to mind Isaiah chapter 40, you will rise up on wings like eagles. And also from, I believe it's Exodus, there's sort of that idea that God raised you up on eagle's wings so that she can fly from the serpent into the wilderness. And this nourishment for a time and times and half a time. That is very intentionally linking back to the book of Daniel and apocalyptic sort of vision of specifically the exile. But then we have this, the serpent that pours water out like a river for the woman and to sweep her away in the flood. Of course, this is a reference to the great flood of Genesis, that God says, I will never do that again, right? So the dragon here is being pictured as having sort of a similar type of power, and yet it doesn't work. The earth itself sort of opens up in order to get rid of this, to swallow this river that the dragon pours from its mouth. And so the dragon is angry and goes and bothers basically everybody else. Says, I'm not going to deal with you anymore. This may be sort of a reference to the situation that the early church finds itself and sort of the ancient world. Again, I've mentioned multiple times that likely when this is being written is not long after the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem. So if in fact this woman is the Jewish people, there is this sort of attempt at destruction and to a certain extent destruction, right? And there is a sending off into the wilderness, into the diaspora, for a certain amount of time, which in many ways mimics the idea of exile. And the dragon, who in this case would be the Roman Empire, now is not really that focused on the Jewish people. There was previously a lot more sort of persecution of the Jewish people in general. Before the Jewish rebellion, you had Claudius, I believe, was the name of the Caesar who expelled all of the Jewish people from Rome for a period of time until he died. And then, of course, the destruction of the temple in 70 CE. After that point, there's not really much purpose. There's not much use to persecute the Jewish people because they have been dispersed all over the place. And so the dragon is now going to spend its time persecuting other people, the Goths and the all of these other people, right? So this may be part of it. It may well be that the author here has the expectation that this exile is going to be just like the previous exile. Sure, we have been cast out by this great empire, but we will return one day. Of course, they could not have imagined how much longer that sort of exile, this diaspora, would be than the exile. The exile lasted, I don't remember exactly how long, but 100, 200 years in its sort of fullness. And of course, after the destruction of the temple in 70 CE, you don't have the Jewish people coming together in a homeland until the 20th century. So slightly different situation, but of course the author would have no idea about that. As much as we might expect that this author has a vision of the future, maybe that's a sign of the limitation of that. And that's maybe an opportunity to reflect on, again, what is the purpose? What is the point of this letter or this writing? The purpose is, and the revelation is, that God is sovereign, that God is in control of all things, and that terrible things happen, right? There is great turmoil. There is destruction that happens. The dragon is loosed, and it seems like the dragon is going to succeed sometimes. And yet there is providence, that yet even in the wilderness, God's people are provided for and cared for. This woman is nourished for a time and times and half a time. If we look at, say, the Exodus, the period of time when the Jewish people, or this was far before they were known as the Jewish people, the Israelites, Israelites would be appropriate for the story. Anyways, They end up in Egypt at the end of Genesis, and they are then left there for some 400 years. But we see in the story, this is a time of, even though they are sort of oppressed during that time, they flourish, they grow, they become this great nation. From one single family, they become a people. No matter what the sort of connection to historical actual events is in the story, that's the presentation. In a very similar way, and maybe more connected to a historical understanding, the time of exile was, of course, horrible. It was also the time when the sort of Jewish identity became something. Beyond being sort of an ethnic group, this is the period of time when this people became a people of the book. This is when our scriptures, of the Hebrew scriptures, started to really take form from sort of scattered writings and oral traditions and those sorts of things to becoming something real and sustainable. It is here when the Hebrew scriptures become sort of a non-physical temple for the people. They return back, and this time of diaspora, there is an expectation that this may be also a good time, right? Or not a good time, but a time in which God can be at work. God can nourish God's people, specifically the Jewish people, but also this author is considering the other children of God, her other children, those who keep the commandments of God and hold testimony of Jesus, the time of the early church. That these times of trouble, these times of destruction, these times when it seems like we've been sent off into the wilderness for a time and times and half a time, that these liminal spaces are actually the times that we grow, that we learn most about ourselves. It is times when the world around us is crumbling, when everything is falling apart, that we get to actually see just how deeply broken the systems that we hold up are. As we look around us, we see a world that is rough. We see a government that is deeply corrupt, focused on violence and warfare, not on peace. As much as the rhetoric may be about peace, the actuality is about war, even to our own destruction. But it is in these types of times where we get to see it most nakedly. Corruption absolutely existed before the Trump administration. I guarantee it. I know it. I can, it doesn't take much to research. But the blatant corruption of the Trump administration and our current political system is a chance to see just how rotten these systems and structures are. At other times, we might fool ourselves into thinking that our elected officials are statesmen, right? Are there for our benefit. And it's times like these where we see that is absolutely not the case, which gives us an opportunity to rebuild, to make different decisions, to hold dear the checks and the balances that have been completely ignored. It's not fun to go through. We are off in the wilderness for a period of time that is probably longer than we would like it to be. But without going through this period, we can't be who we are yet to be. without the lessons that we have learned through this period, with the lessons that are being learned by those who will come after us. We can't get to a better world. And so we pray for eyes wide open. Pray for a fulfilling time in the wilderness. A return and a making better. I invite you to take some time to consider, to pray, to meditate, to journal. When you're ready, we'll join our hearts together in prayer. For the gift of this new day, for waking again from the dreams of the night, for our bodies strengthened and our minds renewed, thanks be to you, O God. You are the stillness of the night. You are the genesis of the morning. Let there be peace in the human soul. Let there be wakings to new consciousness. Let there be tears of love. In the life of the world this day and in our own hearts, let there be fresh tears of love. We lift up our silent prayers for peace. May the angels of light glisten for us this day. May the sparks of God's beauty dance in the eyes of those we love. May the universe be on fire with presents for us this day. May the new sun's rising grace us with gratitude. Let earth's greenness shine and its waters breathe with spirit. Let heaven's winds stir the soil of our soul, and fresh awakenings rise within us. May the mighty angels of light glisten in all things this day. May they summon us to reverence. May they call us to life. Thank you so much for joining me today for Daily Prayer. Join me tomorrow for some more. Like this video, share it with someone else, click on the subscription and the notification button. Go to our website, standrewspc.com, for more information. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. If you happen to be watching on the day this comes out, it is Black Women's Equal Pay Day, Invite an Alien to Live with You Day, Legal Drinking Age Day, National Be Someone Day, National Junk Food Day, National Lamington Day, National Tug of War Tournament Day, and Take a Monkey to Lunch Day. Our liturgy today came from prayers, Praying with the Earth, Prayers for Peace by John Philip Newell, and our reading came from the New Revised Standard Version Updated Edition. You can watch on YouTube, listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, sign up for a daily email on Substack. Thanks for joining me. Have a blessed day. We'll see you next time.